Hey guys, today Audi have decided to throw their hat into the ring and go all fevy, which means they've introduced this, the Audi Q5 TFSIe 55, I think. Anyway, regardless, the name is on the screen now, and this thing is a plug-in hybrid, which means it's got 55 kilometers of real-world electric driving range, but it's also got a Golf GTI or R engine up front, depending on what tickles you. This thing here will set you back about 110 grand, but that's actually really good value for a luxury, larger family SUV. Definitely is quite a lot better value than a BMW X3 or the Mercedes GLC, whatever is out now. So today we're going to take you for an exterior tour of the Audi Q5 TFSIe 55 Quattro Ultra, something. We're then going to go into the interior. We're going to check that out. We're also going to take this thing for a drive, of course, see just how much fun it is to drive or not, and we're going to launch it, see just how quick it is from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, because this thing has a substantial amount of power. So let's get into it. Thank you to today's video sponsor, WIPERTECH. WIPERTECH sell high quality and durable wiper blades delivered straight to your door. Designed for all Aussie conditions, these blades fight rust, reduce wind lift, and glide smoothly thanks to their aerodynamic design and Teflon embedded rubber. They're easy to install, offer a perfect fit guarantee, and backed by a full 12-month warranty. Click the link below and use code CarSauce15 during checkout to get 15% off your order plus free express shipping. Thanks to WIPERTECH for sponsoring today's video. So let's start with the exterior looks of the Q5. Now this first came out in 2017 and it has had a facelift, so it's actually quite a late foray into adding electric power, but it is the first time we get it here in Australia, so that's cool. You do get these cool LED lights up front. I like the daytime running light and very bright LED headlights there too. What looks like fog lights on each side is actually your radars, which is really interesting actually, because yeah, they've done a good job to hide it. You have an enormous grille and it's like a honeycomb-ish design. I don't know, it looks pretty cool with the little metal inserts, giant Audi badge there. But otherwise, it's quite an understated SUV, and I think that that's a good thing. You know, it's not too bulbous, big, huge. It's just good looking. I like it. Let's check out the side. Okay, so coming to the side, now you'll notice that this thing is a swoopy coupé, and that's because it is the Sportback, which I don't know if I would get, because as you'll see, it does mean that you get less space in the rear seats and less space in the boot, but it does look very cool, I'll give it that. You got these 20-inch wheels here. These come as standard. You've also got some pretty good Michelin tires on there too, which is exactly what you want, because this thing does have four-wheel drive, and you don't want that to be one of those bad ones with bad tires. You know what I mean. You got the S-Line badge here because all of these PHEVs in Australia, they come with the S-Line pack, hence all these cool bits of chrome. You got a 360 camera there. That's pretty cool. You've got keyless entry and go, of course, as you would expect at this price point. You've also got tinted glass back here, privacy glass. No roof rails here on the Sportback, that you can option that. They do come as standard on the SUV standard, whatever the hell they call it. But yeah, I really do like the design. I'll give them that. It's a very cool looking coupe. Let's check out the bum. Okay, so coming to the bum of the Audi Q5, and as I said, I really like the design of this Sportback. You can also get this in a green, which I think is the color you should get. You got a spoiler up top because this has S parts to it apparently. Got these really cool LED tail lights. You can't get them as OLED tail lights. I don't think you need that, but still pretty cool to have. 55 TFSIe, that's to denote that it is quite powerful, and then it's got a petrol engine and an electric motor. You've also got Quattro four-wheel drive. They call it Quattro Ultra here apparently. And we have a Q5 badge there too, and down the bottom is a pretty cool diffuser. Unfortunately though, the Sportback does cut into boot space. There we go. Powered tailgate, which is always good to see. You do get a decent amount of depth, but it's just the height that's impacted. So when I had all my camera gear in here, yeah, it wasn't the greatest situation. You can drop the back seats though and get plenty of, as I said, length. But if you do go for this cooler, sportier design for the coupe, unfortunately, it does impact your inside space. Also, you get a goo kit, but you don't get any sort of spare wheel. So that's not the greatest situation ever, but I guess who cares about that? Let's check out the interior. Alrighty, so coming on to the interior now of the Audi Q5 TFSIe 55. What's it like? Well, it's really nice, as you would expect for an Audi. Soft touch materials, absolutely everywhere, which is really important because it does help to soak up a lot of road noise. The steering wheel is incredible. It's straight out of an Audi S car. It's just like perfect. I can't fault it. It's just got the best holding position ever. You do have a little S badge down there, and some of the most beautiful clicky buttons ever, which is just cool attention to detail. Speaking of, digital instrument cluster up in front of you. You can get a full-size maps as well. It is super responsive and it just works really well. And of course, this has EV specific stuff, which you'll see when we're driving. You've also got this infotainment display here. They call it Audi MMI multimedia interface, and it does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's got these taptic feedback things, which is pretty cool. I don't know, it all just works super well, but nothing is gonna like blow you out of the water. It's not the most elegant, beautiful design, but it's just simply functional. So I do like that. Air conditioning controls, for example, they're just so well laid out. They're not on the screen. Everything's easy to click. Sounds amazing. I love that. You've also got some buttons down here, including your drive selector. You've also got your EV button there, and that will help bring up a bunch of menus. So you can do things like have the car in EV only, or put it as a hybrid. You can hold the battery charge, or you can actually just charge the battery using the engine, although that is quite a noisy option and certainly a less efficient way than just plugging the car in. Again, we'll come back to the battery. You've got a Quattro badge there, and this is all real aluminium, and it feels really nice to the touch too. I will say, it's not a huge amount of storage up front. You've got a little area here, also another one here. You've got a little volume dial there. You also got a little storage area under this piano black area, which I don't love. It is definitely going to scratch. You do have a pretty cool wireless charger situation here though. It's right there, and then you can hide your phone away, and that reveals a couple of cup holders. I do love the shifter. It feels so nice, just so meaty, exactly what you expect out of an Audi product. You've also got one of these bad boys, so love that too. And there's a little bit of space on the inside here, but not much. You do have a USB-C port and a USB-A port and a 12-volt socket there too. Also, as standard across all of these TFSI 55Es is a massive panoramic sunroof. You've also got a pretty good sound system. So as I said, we're sitting in the TFSI E55 Sportback, which means that this thing's about 115 grand drive away, which is actually pretty reasonably priced for a plug-in hybrid luxury SUV. You can spend about $8,000 less and get the standard SUV, which, as I said, is just more practical. You can also option a Bang & Olufsen 3D sound system that's like 750 watts. It's part of a Technic pack. I probably would get that because it does give you matrix LED lights, gives you that really good sound system and a heads-up display as well, although it's not necessary actually. As it comes spec'd, it's really well spec'd. You've also got these amazing quilted leather seats. They feel so nice to sit on, really comfortable. We've got extendable leg support. They're really adjustable too. So I've got zero complaints. I really have enjoyed my time driving this around Brisbane. Let's check out the back seats. Alrighty, so coming into the back seats now, and immediately you're gonna notice why I don't love the Sportback in terms of its practicality. Even though they've cut out a bit of space in the roof, I'm only 5'11" and my head is still touching the roof. So yeah, you just got to think about that, whether you want style or the practicality aspect. As I said, 5'11", heaps of legroom though, heaps of toe room. And if you do go for that standard SUV space, it's a huge amount of space back here. Again, it's got the really nice leather seats to them too. You've also got this fold down armrest with a couple of cup holders in there, so that's all nice. You've got a third zone of climate control here, 2 USB-A ports and a 12-volt socket. You've also got some map pockets, and quality back here is also pretty damn good, so not too much to complain about. And I'm really appreciating the panoramic sunroof right now. Let's take this thing for a drive. Okay, so driving the Audi Q5 TFSIe 55 or something along those lines. It's the FEV. It's the bloody plug-in hybrid. So what's it like? Well, let me start with the thing I was really worried about, which was suspension tuning. You see, adaptive dampers are not standard, which is a little bit classic Audi, but they are in such a good state of tune as they are. It's nice. It rides actually surprisingly soft, which is good. It's what I want in my luxury SUV. And so although that does mean a bit of extra body roll, it's certainly not terrible. You know, we're not in our usual twisties area, but we'll give this thing some twisty sauce. And it rides really well. Turn a corner. The platform that this is built on is seriously just phenomenal. I will say, I think an X3 in general will go around a corner better than a Q5, But in terms of day-to-day livability, the Q5 is so much more compliant on the roads than something like a BMW X3 or even the GLC plug-in hybrid, for example. This is a really good middle ground. Of course, we have our different driving modes, so let's change it into something else. Let's do efficiency. So this is really cool. Actually, in all modes, this Quattro Ultra system, which is a pretty much permanent all-wheel drive system, under ideal situations will disconnect the rear from the front. And so that reduces powertrain loss and gives you better fuel economy or EV efficiency, depending on what's going on. But this thing will like also hypermile. So it'll like essentially disconnect the engine from the entire drivetrain, and the engine will turn off and the motors won't do anything and you'll just roll. And it's a really cool system. A lot of Audis, even Volkswagen products do it, but they are amongst some of the most efficient cars out there. And even in efficiency mode, it's really good. Definitely a bit of body roll, but it's manageable. Also, we have the most rear-wheel drive biased Audi Q5 ever, because we have a big battery over the rear. I mean, it's relatively big. I'll put the exact figure on the screen, but the gross capacity is about 19 kilowatt hours, and it does sit just under the boot floor. Yeah, look, there definitely is a bit of body roll, but what if we put the car into... Oh. Dynamic. I love the sound of those buttons. The steering wheel becomes extremely heavy, very heavy. And now the engine is a lot more willing to be on. So what's powering this thing? Well, glad you asked. It is, of course, the EA888, the same engine as a Golf R, an Audi S3. It's in so many Volkswagen Group products, and it is a phenomenal 4-cylinder. It's also apparently pretty clean if you care about that. It's got a petrol particulate filter in it, so no, it doesn't sound that great. But when you consider that the combined outputs of this car is 270 kilowatt, 500 newton meters of torque, when you put your foot down, you really do get shoved in the back. And by the way, that electric motor kind of runs with the 7-speed dual clutch transmission because it's sandwiched between that dual clutch transmission and the engine. So what that means is you always get that boost of power, as you can see there. When you put your foot down, boost comes on, you get maximum power, and this thing is fast. It's really quick. We'll do some performance testing soon, but I'm very impressed with how this thing drives. And as I put the car back into comfort, I will say this isn't for most people. And Audi know this. They just want to offer more in their range, and I think that that's absolutely awesome and very fair enough. But this is really for the kind of person who is driving more in town than out. It just gives you that efficiency of an EV when you stick within the 55-kilometer WLTP range, and really it's pretty close to that in actual real-world driving. But it means you can come out to, you know, country Queensland like we're in now, and you can not worry that your battery is going to die. And eventually when your battery does die, it acts exactly like a Toyota hybrid system. So if we press the EV button here, you can see it's got EV auto hybrid, and that's essentially what the car will stay in. That's what it's mostly in anyway. You can force it to be in EV only. But in auto hybrid, once you run out of battery, it'll just give you little spurts of energy. But if you're looking for ultimate efficiency, it's not really this. Probably not fair to show the short-term consumption, but if we have a look at the longer-term consumption, about 9 liters per 100 kilometers, and the battery efficiency is actually really good at 14.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That's actually very impressive. But what this drivetrain really provides is very good efficiency when you use it as it's meant to be, i.e. mostly in urban environments and sometimes out in the country. But if you're, for example, on the highway very often, you're much better off to go for the 35 TDI, which is one of the most frugal diesel engines ever. But if you want to combine both efficiency and really good power, then this is probably your bet. The other thing we're going to do is put traction into sport. Brake boost launch, let's go. Jeez, I'm not joking, this thing is fast. Oh, we beat their claimed time. 0 to 100 in 5.16 seconds. The thing I'm impressed about is the 0 to 60 kilometers per hour. Because of that instant torque of the electric motor, 2.39 seconds is really fast. That's kilometers, by the way. just to be very clear. Okay, so final thoughts on the all-new Audi Q5 plug-in hybrid. I think if you are looking for something that you are driving mostly around in urban areas, you can actually take advantage of that battery power, then 100% this thing is really worth its value. Being an Audi Q5, they're already a bit cheaper than their GLC or X3 competitors, but when you combine it with the battery pack at 110 grand, you actually get so much for a luxury car. So yes, 100% hands down, can recommend it.